To me, the movie theater is like a second home. The sights, the sounds, and the smells always welcome me in, especially when I go to a local independent theater. The movie isn't the only story you experience at the cinema. The theater itself has an incredible story of its own, and it all unfolds right here on the silver screen. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Chris McNicholas, and this is The Silver Screen, where we highlight independent movie theaters from across the Bay Area and go behind the scenes to learn about their fascinating history and their special role in the community. Now playing on the silver screen, the Chabot Theater. In case you're not familiar, the Chabot Theater, located in the heart of Castro Valley at 2853 Castro Valley Boulevard, opened its doors in 1950. In 2025, the theater will be celebrating its 75th year in operation. In 2019, there was a change in ownership, and for the past 5 years, the Chabot Theater has been on a mission to make itself a cultural hub that celebrates cinema, music, stand-up comedy, and other forms of art brought to you by local East Bay artists. Their crown jewel, which is how I first became fascinated with this theater, is the locals' only short film festival, a special event unlike any other in the Bay Area, where filmmakers from all over the Bay Area get the chance to have their short films put on the big screen and build connections with other Bay Area filmmakers and audience members. I had the honor of interviewing Alex Largusa, executive director at the Chabot Theater, where he shared with me the theater's history and how the Chabot gives back to the local East Bay community. All right, everyone. So we have a very special guest here with us today for the first episode of The Silver Screen. He is the executive director at the Chabot Theater in Castro Valley. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Alex Largusa. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming on. And yeah, we're just going to jump straight into it right here. So, what do you consider to be the Chabot Theater's main mission?
I think the Chabot Theater's main mission is to be a hub for entertainment and art in the Castro Valley area. So, yeah, whether it's bringing, you know, new movies from Hollywood or local events that highlight local filmmakers or comedians or musicians, whatever the case may be, we just want to be a place that provides that space for our community.
Very nice, very nice. What year did the Chabot Theater open? And does it
It,
have any historical status of any kind?
the Chabot, the business opened in 1950. So we'll actually
Oh,
be
wow.
celebrating, the Chabot will be celebrating its 75th anniversary next year in 2025.
Wow, that's
Um,
crazy.
the Chabot doesn't have any kind of legal historical status,
Hmm.
though I think culturally it's quite a historical building, at
Yeah,
least in the Castro Valley area.
for sure. It has that recognizable facade and
Yes.
yeah. What year did you take over as executive director, and what prompted you to take on that role?
So, me personally, I took over as executive director in 2022. I work with a group called Small Town Society. We're an arts organization that focuses really on music, developing
Hmm.
musicians in the Eden area. And we bought the building and business in 2019. So we had purchased it from the previous owner and have been running it since 2019. I've been involved since we took over in 2019. Everywhere from redoing the concessions menu
Mm-hmm.
is kind of how I started, and just kind of being on the team leading that. To for a while, I was just doing programs, so what events we were doing, what movies we were going to play, and then now I'm kind of running the show. I took over as executive director because I really, really love the Chabot as an institution, but I also really believe in the kind of new mission and vision that we set for the Chabot back in 2019. When the Chabot was put up on the market in 2019, we actually heard about it from our friend Josh at Crush Comics, and we asked around, and the only offers on the table for the Chabot at the time were, kind of out of town real estate folks that wanted to park some money in Bay Area real estate.
Oh,
No one wanted to keep it operating as a theater. There was a proposal to demo it and turn it into market rate condos.
of
And so,
course. It
of course,
seems like that's the only thing around in the Bay Area now.
right, right. And while the Bay Area needs housing, it needs affordable housing,
Hmm.
and market rate housing feels like it only benefits the developer or the owner of
Yeah.
those places. So, in our heads, we were like, okay, the Chabot is a community asset, and the only proposal for it is to turn it into something that really doesn't even benefit the community that much. Um, so as a bunch of fiery artists, we were like, we need to organize something to save the Chabot. And so we did. We called meetings with friends and local orgs and leaders to try to save the Chabot,
Hmm.
and they were kind of like, well, you guys are the ones that are really passionate about that. You guys are the arts organization in the area. You should get a loan and buy it. And so we did, in partnership with First Presbyterian Church of Hayward, which is located in Castro Valley.
Hmm.
Um, we ended up getting a loan and bought the theater in 2019. So since then, while we wanted to keep its heritage of being a movie theater and bringing movies, particularly family movies, to our community, we also wanted to do something a little bit different, which was to really try to provide a home for local filmmakers in the area, local cinephiles in the area,
Hmm.
to become what we like to say is our community's living room.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So going further on that note about like giving back to the community through the Chabot, what events has the Chabot Theater organized for the local community of Castro Valley and for the East Bay in general?
I think a lot of what we try to bring to the community is really unique and culturally relevant programming. Maybe that can't totally be said about every movie that we play, but as far as our special events, we love to play locally made movies, and have the filmmaker and cast and crew out to talk about that film. So we do those kinds of premieres, or screenings several times a year, local movies, independent movies, and we'll bring the cast and crew out. And I think it's a really, really special experience for
Yeah,
the audience
definitely.
to see a movie and then get to ask questions about the production of the movie. That's common for someone who goes to Sundance every year, goes to these
Yeah,
festivals every
or
year.
lives in LA or
Or
something, but
right, right, but just for someone in Castro Valley to do that, it's a lot more rare.
yeah, it's
If you do that in the Bay Area, you're going out to the city, to San
mhm.
Francisco or maybe Oakland. So I really love being able to do that. Every year we host our own festival. We call it the Locals Only Short Film Festival, and that's another one where not only do we get to honor and celebrate these local filmmakers by putting their work on the big screen, instead of just living on YouTube or Vimeo, or something like that. Not only do we get to exhibit filmmakers' work, but then we get to bring an audience to come and watch that and connect with artists in their hometown. I think that's something that we're really excited about, is being able to provide a space for our community to engage with art that's been made in a hyper local context.
Yeah.
So often, for folks in Castro Valley or Hayward or San Leandro, if you're engaging with art, you're doing so in Oakland or Berkeley or San Francisco.
Mhm.
And if you're an artist, you're usually showing your art in Oakland or Berkeley or San
Yeah.
Francisco. And we think it's, I mean, it's just one of our biggest missions is to highlight the voices and the art that's happening here and connecting the people here to that.
Definitely. Yeah. It's you said it yourself. There have been a bunch of film screenings and certain festivals and those kinds of things, but like you said, they're all in Oakland or San
Right.
Francisco. I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel like going that far."
I mean,
So,
don't get me wrong,
when
I love those cities so
yeah,
much, but, oftentimes our cities, Hayward, Castro Valley, San Leandro, and our people, in my opinion, are grossly underlooked.
I agree, definitely. There's yeah, it's just not a whole lot of fun stuff to do around here in
Sure,
this general
right.
area. So, yeah, when I first heard about the Locals Only Short Film Festival, I was like, "Oh, that's in Castro Valley? That's like right near my house. I
Yeah,
can go
right.
there." So, yeah, that was very exciting for me. And yeah, I'm very glad to see that the Chabot is becoming this greater cultural hub. And that sort of leads me into my next question here of like, do you feel that Locals Only Festival and other events that you put on has helped place the Chabot on the map, so to speak, in terms of it becoming a prime social hub and just a prime art hub?
I do to an extent. I wouldn't say that, the Chabot is like the premier spot
Hmm.
for local art, but I do think so to an extent. We get a lot of local independent filmmakers, who are looking to screen their film somewhere, and all these theaters around the Bay Area replied to them with just crazy numbers. The finances that it would take for a local independent filmmaker to screen their film there is just
Oh,
not
yeah.
it's so exorbitant. It feels not worth it. And with us, with our mission being to be a home for local film, we really do our best to make very reasonable deals with local filmmakers. And so I do think because of that, because of those events, because of locals only, there's been a lot of people who've have no reason to come out to Castro Valley, let alone a theater in Castro Valley. It's brought a lot of people out to the Chabot,
Hmm.
and people have, it warms my heart every time someone's like, this is incredible. This was incredible. When someone's inspired to do another event or something and host it at the Chabot. I love that. So I do think the Chabot has built a somewhat of a name for itself, for folks looking to do events or to screen their film. But yeah, I wouldn't call it the place in the Bay Area to do so.
I would, but
I appreciate that.
that's just me. But going more on this route of events that the Chabot puts on, are there events other than film screenings that the Chabot puts on,
Yeah.
or other art
uh,
forms that the Chabot celebrates?
Absolutely. So like I mentioned, the organization that I work with, Small Town Society, we purchased the Chabot back in 2019, and operate it now. We're a music organization.
Hmm.
That's our bread and butter. Before I was doing the Chabot, most of my livelihood was organizing events around music. So because that's kind of just baked into the Chabot's DNA now that we're running it, we do a lot of concerts at the Chabot.
Oh, wow.
Um, so a lot of concerts or just music showcases. We've also had more recently comedians come and put on a show at the Chabot. We wanted to get into live theater
Oh,
for
that's
a little
interesting.
while. Yeah, we would have to spend so much on proper lighting to make that work, that it just didn't quite seem like the right move. It's never really quite seemed like the right move for us. Maybe if we get some huge capital investment, we would invest in some some stage lighting, but for right now, it's the theater really is set up to have people sitting and looking at a screen. So those are the best events. But yeah, comedy, music, those have all worked really well for us.
Where do you see the Chabot in the next 5 years?
It's a great question. Uh, I know where I would like to see the Chabot. Whether it gets there or not is a completely different question. But I would love to see the Chabot as a thriving, fully financially stable theater that really does feel like the premier spot to screen your film. Or if you have a project that, if you're in the Bay Area and you have a project that you have been working on that you want to show, it would be a no-brainer to do it at the Chabot. So I think it's a lot of the same initial vision that we've had for the Chabot, which is being an affordable spot for a family to come and watch the latest movies, but also really the community's living room, the home for filmmakers and local artists to show their stuff. I just would love to see that realized in a little bit more of a tangible way, I guess. I don't know if that's a super great answer, or if I'm giving you anything new that I haven't said already.
No, that's
But
a great
really
answer. I fully agree. I'd
wonderful.
love to see it that way too.
Yeah, I think it's our team really believes in the mission and what we're trying to do. It's just gonna be a bumpy road getting there.
Yeah, but it'll pay off in the end.
I I hope so.
It
Yeah.
will. It will.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What you just heard was my interview with Alex Largusa, Executive Director of the Chabot Theater. I again want to thank Alex so much for coming on and for sharing the Chabot story and mission with me and with us. The Chabot Theater really is a hidden gem in the East Bay. The locals' only short film festival is hosted there every year. They screen films, both old and new, host other fantastic events, and the best part is, the Chabot Theater is only a 10-minute drive away from Cal State East Bay. You can go there right now and experience some cinema in a cozy, local environment. Feel free to follow the Chabot Theater on Instagram at the Chabot Theater, or visit thechabottheater.com for more updates and announcements. You can also follow Alex's music organization, Small Town Society, on Instagram at Small Town Society, if you're interested in the local music scene brewing in the East Bay. My name is Chris McNicholas, and be sure to tune in to the next episode of The Silver Screen to learn about the next movie theater coming soon. Thank you for listening.